For the planet to live, capitalism must die. That's obviously a catchy slogan that was invented to get you to get into this room. And if you're a bit skeptical, then you have all the right to be so, because this is the kind of marketing you do on the newspapers, the internet, everywhere. It's usually these kind of statements are hyperbole, an exaggerated statement that may not have much basis of fact behind it. But in this case, apart from being a little bit of a catchy slogan, it's actually meant as a statement of fact. The the fundamental basic principles of capitalism is incompatible with a sustainable society. And if we continue with the system we have now, we are going to degrade our ecosystem to the point where the survival of human civilization as we know it can no longer be guaranteed. Actually, that's very vague. I would say it's guaranteed that our society will collapse and it will take with it a lot of other species along with it. We are facing a complete planetary calamity. Now, I'm going to try to use the next 30 minutes to explain to you my thinking and why I have come to this conclusion. If there's something I say, I use words that you don't understand, or I'm not explaining something clearly, so you're losing the thread, interrupt right away. Because what I'm saying at one stage will be the foundation of what comes next. So it is very important to be able to keep the track of what I'm saying. On the other hand, if you have comments, you want to get deeper into something, to have another view on something, or any other kind of questions, please write them down and keep them for the end of the presentation. There will be plenty of time for everybody to pull the chat and keep the type of capitalism, which is supposedly the idea behind it is that you're taking advantage of the entrepreneurial spirit to unleash forces to solve the problems of global warming and renewable energy and all the other problems we are facing. So with all these kind of different things that is called capitalism, if I say capitalism must die, does that mean one form of capitalism, others are okay, or what it is? Or more deeper and say, what is it that ties all these forms of economic systems together? And that is profit. The underlying idea in capitalism is that all transactions are motivated by the desire to make a profit. If something does not make a profit, it cannot survive in a capitalist society. If you accuse a company of being unethical, you can accuse them of profiteering. You can tell them that they're making products that are of no use for anybody, and it's just wasting our resources, or even environmentally degrading. You can say that they're using slave child labor in India. They will just shrug. They don't care. That's not important. But if you accuse them of being unprofitable, that's another thing. That's the greatest crime that you can commit in a capitalist society. And being unprofitable is so serious crime that it deserves the capital punishment. You die, you're destroyed, you will be out of business, and they close you down. Okay, so this is the only thing. So if you have this is the capital sin. Forget Sorry about the pun, but if that is the case, then you have a choice between that and just poisoning the environment for future generation. Okay, the most important, don't be unprofitable. And you know, all these climate accords that they have signed in various places, the Paris Accord and all the others. They always, if you read the fine print, there is always a clause that says that nothing in this text should be construed as going against any agreed trade agreements. So if there is a conflict between anything environmentally that protects the environment or the interests of big business, they already in the agreement, they're signing up that the interest of big business takes preference. So profit is the drive for profit is the common denominator in capitalism. And a system that does not have a motive to derive profit, then I would say it is not capitalism. But as long as it is capitalist, it doesn't matter what shape and form of it. If the idea is that you're going to start with money and you're going to end up with more money, then that's the hallmark of a capitalist economy. Marx described it quite nicely. He set up the formula MCM'. So it says, any transaction starts with money. You use capital, you invest it. Then you convert this in commodities or services or something else. And then you sell these ones and you end up with more money. The M' is indicate that in the end of it, you have more money than when you started. And this is true with every single business. You need to do something and you invest money with it, and then whatever your investment is, nobody really cares whether if it's what you're investing in, if it's growing organic food. I mean, as long as you make money, that's the important thing. So it is true for all capitalist businesses except the financial sector, because they have been even smarter. They have just cut out the middle portion of it. So they have money, and with money, they make more money. They lend out money at interest. What else do? They do nothing. And so they have money and they make more money. So with this thing, yes. Is it a question to clarify what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I should not have said it. I'm getting carried away. I'm trying to make extremes. To just say the most, whether it's something really good and nice, or it's something completely morally repugnant. But even so, even a drug dealer, they're all playing the same game, actually, whether it's legal or not. But it was bad taste. I should not have said that. I acknowledge that. But it means that if you're starting with money and you are and if everybody in the economy starts with money and he ends up with more money, it means that the money you have in the end is always more than the money with what you're starting with. Now, if that say that, if we say then that I'm making money and I'm taking your money and you're losing the money, okay, then one can understand it because the money supply can stay steady. But if everybody has to make money, then where does the money come from? It means that the money supply has to grow, isn't it? Otherwise, everybody cannot make money. And the fact that everybody makes money is just is based on the simple fact that they are alive. Because any business doesn't make money, it dies. So any business that you see around you makes money. Okay, you say you have a company, he sells seeds to a farmer. He makes profit. The farmer grows food crops. He sells it to the food processing plant. He has to make a profit. The people are selling the packaging material and other things that are input to the food processing plant. They make money. The food processing plant makes money selling it to the wholesaler. The wholesaler makes money selling it to the retail store, and the retail store is making money. And it goes on and on. There's so what I'm saying, that the fact that everybody has to make money at all times. So in the beginning of capitalism, the mercantile system, and for many, exponential. Okay, if you say, yeah, that's very important question. If I say I start with $100, okay? I charge interest on that. Next year, I get $105. And then if I have a linear growth, then that means I add $5. And then next year, again, $5. Next year, $5. The growth will be like one line like this. But if I start to charge interest, compounded, I charge interest on the interest, I get an exponential growth. So if I add it like this, it just goes like this, one straight line. It's not dangerous. It is very, but if I charge the next time I charge interest on $105, and then I add them, so that then I will be then I'll end up with $5.75 the next one, and it goes up. And then you'll see over time, the growth is like this. There's nothing as dangerous as exponential growth. Marx writes in Capital, he's quoting Gladstone in the British Parliament, who was talking about the power of exponential growth. And they said that if you invested 10 cents at the time of the birth of Jesus Christ at 5% annual compound interest, by the time Marx lived, it said it would, with the amount that would be due in interest is 30 globes of gold, the size of this planet. All right. So it just trying to understand that exponential growth is, it's just extremely, because if you always, even if it's a small interest on a previous one, if you discontinue it, it goes. Okay, so yeah, okay. So at the beginning of the before capitalism, you had a gold standard. Money was based on gold. And if you needed more money in the world, okay, you have to find more gold or silver or whatever is the basis on it. Here, the growth is dependent on the physical availability of something. It's linked to the natural world. But in a capitalist system, you need have an exponential growth of money, otherwise the system collapses. And therefore, they changed the money system and they invented the current system where money is created by banks in the process of making loans. Some of you may know this and some not, but I cannot go into the details. If someone is interested, ask later on. But it is actually the fact. So therefore, there is a limit to how much gold you can find in the world, but there's no limit how much loans you can give out. So as you need more and more money to cover the new profits that are being made, you just create more and more loans, and that's how money is how the money supply is growing. And that means that the money supply, because you need like a 2% growth of the economy every year, otherwise you go into recession and all that. They say, okay, the economy is stagnant, there is unemployment, people lose their jobs. It is because of this. It has to grow in order for you to, the money has to keep on growing exponentially. And here you have this is a link between the money supply and the GDP. Now you see it is in long term, it links with each other. But here, this is the time of the global financial crisis where the whole economy was, financial system collapsing. So in order to prevent it from collapse, they had to create money faster than the economy growth. And they could get away with it for a little time. But then here, this is COVID. You see the economy crashed while the amount of money that was created went through the roof. And this is the reason now we have double-digit inflation all over the world. If the economy, so the growth of money forces the economy to grow. And the simple reason is that if I have more money, but there's nothing to buy for the money. I mean, if I had twice as much money, I want to buy twice as much stuff. Otherwise, what is the use of the money? So if there's no twice as much stuff to buy with the money, then it means everything will just be twice as expensive because you have the same amount of goods being chased with twice as much money. So long term, the money, the economy, the GDP has to grow at the size, the speed of where the money grows. But it's always here, you see, the money is always usually a little bit ahead. So this the growth of money that drives the need to grow the economy. And that's why all economy going to see a very different world by the time they reach my age. There will be a very different world, and they will come with a lot of problems and scarcities and problems. Now, this is a quote from the report. It says, once the footprint has grown beyond the sustainable level, as it already has, it must eventually come down, either through the managed process, for example, through rapid increase in eco-efficiency, or through the work of nature, say through declining use of wood as forests disappear. There is no question about whether growth in the ecological footprint will stop. The only questions are when and by what means. Basically, it's the difference of you're driving a car and you see a big cliff in front of you. Okay, do you slow down, press your brakes, slow down, and start to maybe drive alongside the cliff? Or do you just say, I don't care, and then you drive straight into the cliff and crash? By continuing what we're doing, we're heading for a crash. And this, while the smart thing is to realize there is a cliff there, and we need to try to avoid it, then we have to slow down, we have to change the way we are doing. So if this idea, the driving force of having profit as the motivating source in the economy is driving us to a collapse, then what do we need to do instead? It means we need to try to start to provide and think about providing. Okay, this is what I said. It means that we're having to provide an economy that provides for the needs of people. instead, and that has to be the driving force, instead of having individual profit. Our needs do not grow exponentially. We don't need more calories now than we would needed 2,000 years ago. We probably don't have more desire for happiness and love and fulfillment. We are not much different. We change very slowly. So an economy that is based on providing the basic needs for all its population, it does not have to grow exponentially. So therefore, there's a hope, a chance in that. How to keep a sustainable economy can be very nicely demonstrated by this Kate Raworth's donut economics. Here she considered the whole economy like a donut, and here you have the environmental ceiling, which if I expand the economy more than that, then I'm destroying the nature, the natural fabric that is the foundation of all my prosperity. On the other hand, there is also a social foundation here. If I go beyond that one, I shrink the economy too much, then it means I will not be able to provide for the basic necessities of the population. So this is the safe space for humanity, where we can have a thriving economy. This means that capitalism, now coming back to my initial thesis, capitalism is in any form is not compatible with a sustainable society, because it depends on exponential growth. And an exponentially growing economy can never be compatible with a sustainable society, because a sustainable society cannot grow exponentially. And this means that even green capitalism is just a myth. It's a nice catchword. It can actually never be a reality. So to come to the go full circle to see, I've been trying to demonstrate what was my initial thesis, and that is that for the planet to live, capitalism must die. As long as any system is there that could be considered capitalist, it will not be able to be consistent with the sustainable.
Just curious what you see green capitalism, who is the perpetrators, or like what does power look like, or the political power structure of green capitalism. So it's not just an essentialist notion of what money does and exponential growth, but there must also be some perpetrators and places to look for people who benefit or corporation, whatever.
I've been thinking about this also. I've written some of it, but the system is far more powerful than the individuals. Any individuals, if you're a CEO of a company, and I now want to change, I'm going to become completely green. First of all, I would break the law, because by law, I have to my shareholders will sue me, because by law, my first duty is to look at the interest, the profits for my shareholders. If I don't support that one, I will be fired. Now, if by any chance I will be able to convince the shareholders to go along with it, that they don't care about them making money or not, then the competition, the market forces will throw me out, and the whole company will disappear. So it's very difficult. I think that also when you come to this, you were specifically talking about the green capitalist court and others have written about this. I think they mean very well. They're so, even if you look at Herman Daly, who is the founder of the whole no growth movement, he believed in market forces. It is so steeped in our things. We cannot think of a society or an economy without a free market. And we have been led to believe that this is the only way to organize a society, though it's just been here for a few hundred years. But forget about that, what happened before. But right now, we think this is the only thing that is possible. So I think many of them are meaning well, and they think that it's actually possible. Now, they are crooks and good and bad people everywhere. But I think you need to look more at the structural problems than trying to go on a witch hunt and find out who is the perpetrator behind it.
Namaskar, thank you for the presentation. The question is, which step after the most recent ESG model, it's being spotlighted by the capitalist progressive forces, which step you believe can be given towards the universal wealth income, this new proposal also with the ESG model it's proposed, and how to deal with this fact you brought, that for the amount of planet Earth necessary needed for the planet, if the standard is the wealth countries, it's more than double in comparison to the poor countries. What kind of responsibility the wealth countries and organizations should have in that step to share and diminish the inequality?
I think we have like 3 minutes left. It's too vast a topic. It's open another. Of course, it's the absolute logical conclusion of this. I'm just pointing out a problem and see where we have to go. Now the question, how do we go there? It's huge. So I think we need to sit down and have a whole other session about it. Very interesting. And that's where we have to go, of course. It's useless unless we take some steps to change this thing. Okay, but if you're starting with a framework that is based on a false premises and false foundations, there's no way you can take, because it's still based in the foundation of the free market system. It's taken for granted and everything. If you use that as a basis, there's no hope. You cannot come up with a solution, no matter how you twinkle it. We need to go deeper. Sorry, there's
Yeah, my question, I'm wondering whether it's capitalism in itself that is, you say, have to die, whether it's bad, or if it's more kind of the way society has been going, the products we're making and the